Welcome friends. Today I am going to discuss about the integration between the Spring Boot and the Spring WS, that is, which is supporting SOAP web service, and Spring Boot is supporting the REST web service. Now how I can mitigate that issue? So basically I am using Spring Boot to expose the web service as a SOAP. Before that, in my previous tutorial, I have converted XSD to Java, and here I have done the contract first approach, that is wsdl file to the Java file. Now wsdl file I am not going to write. I am going to write first XSD, and Spring Boot will take care of creating the wsdl file. Now how to do that? Now there is a two way to develop the SOAP based web service. One is the contract first approach we are going to use here. Since we are using Spring Boot, we don't need to create the wsdl file, we need to create the XSD file. Now this is the schema definition, and we have the endpoint as well. To make that wsdl, how to do that? First, I have to make that dependency wsdl4j and artifact also wsdl4j. This will allow me to create the wsdl, okay? And in the pom.xml, as I have already mentioned, that of course I have to make that version correction into 214, and I have to make that plugin, that XSD file, this is the XSD file, to the Java file. So this is the XSD file, and where is the Java file? The Java file will be in XSD file, as I have mentioned the package here. The same package name will be creating here, okay? So earlier there is only this one, this package was exist, okay? And after generating the XSD to Java, it will be creating in this package, and all that request what I have defined here: acknowledgement, customer object, and the factory class, okay? Now the next thing is that I have to write that we have to expose that as a web service. We have to write three package: one for the configuration, one for the endpoint, one for the service. In the configuration, how to make that configuration? I have to mention @configuration enable web ws, okay? And here I have to define the sublet registration bin, okay? And here if you see, I have mentioned the sublet mapping here, okay? Let me show it. Here is the application context, and here I have mentioned the sublet context. And to create the wsdl file, right, we need to create the wsdl file. That's our ultimate goal. And from wsdl file we can invoke the endpoint. And to create the wsdl file, I have to mention the schema. So schema, where is that XSD file? That is loan eligibility.xsd, right? And this is that loan eligibility XSD file. So from here in this in class path, in the resource itself, and I don't have anything here. If we have any abc folder, I have to abc slash loan eligibility.xsd file. And here is the schema, and we have to mention the port type name, any name we can mention, and the location URI, which it should be same as that sublet. And the target namespace, it's that we have to same as mentioned in the schema itself. So this is the schema target namespace, loan eligibility, this is the schema target. So same thing I have to mention here, okay? And finally we are getting that loan eligibility. And here you see that any name you can give in, right? It's the bin name. And now after running the Spring Boot application, that is Spring Boot application, just run Spring Boot application. Here what I get that uh, it's running under the localhost 8080, okay, and ws, since is the sublet I have mentioned ws, and its name is the loan eligibility dot wsdl, and that is the wsdl file, right? So this is the wsdl file, and using that wsdl you can create let me start from the beginning, that from wsdl, from soap, say test soap 2, and I put that wsdl. Here you see that it has been created, is the mock object has been created, right? And here you see that in the question mark you have to specify the name. Let's see, give the name, age 46, and yearly income. So according to the logic it will given the result, okay. Employer mode, say permanent, so any name, any string or anything you can. So minimum income, here I see that it should be some value, okay. So minimum income should be more than 2000, so I am giving more than, not 2000, 2 lakhs, more than 2 lakh. Now I see that eligibility is true and approved amount. And now the question is, this is that just a whistle, is the configuration. Now where it will going to hit it, it will going to hit it at the endpoint. So our focus now is at the endpoint. So when it will going to hit from the SOAP UI, that WS, it will coming to that endpoint, and here is that Spring WS is that payload root, and have to give that customer name and the namespace which is already defined here, and have to give that namespace. And the payload is the request structure which is mentioned in the loan eligibility. You will find uh, that request, customer request, right? So here itself customer request, and this object already created, right? This object is already created, it's a generated file. And where it has been generated at this package what I have mentioned. And here I have autoware, or the red autoware, and the function invoked with that request. And in this function, according to that, I am getting it like that logic, say if it is the less than 2 lakhs, I am getting this message. So accordingly, what finally I will get, that acknowledgement response, okay, is as a response. And you will find that soap envelope body as a response here, okay. So this is our and the service itself, you see that service itself, the logic has been written here. So in this tutorial I have covered what I have covered: Spring Boot soap based web service, Spring WS, okay, and XSD file I have already created, okay, and 3 more package I have created: service, endpoint, and configuration. In the configuration, define the wsdl and port type, servlet name, and finally hitting the SOAP web service, and I am getting the result. Next session I will cover for the JUnit for the Spring WS that is soap based web service. Hope you like it. Keep watching and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much.